inspirational, your queen, Shorey Agashlu. Next, she's the badass Belta, who is downright lovely in real life. Kara G, everyone. Next, we have a wonderful character actor making his way to season 4. Please welcome Vernon Gorman, everyone. So, in case, I don't think I'm mistaken here, I'm pretty sure that's everyone, right? So let's just get to... Oh, wait, yeah, sorry, we saved the best for last, of course, your hashtag murder snuggles, Wes Chatham, everyone. Don't be mad at me, Wes. Both Steven and I and Amazon thought that would be funny.
It was great.
Yeah,
Dad jokes.
I forgot to introduce him at San Diego Comic-Con, so yeah.
You're all in on the
Don't
joke.
boo me!
Move him!
Just showed you the whole episode. Alright. Okay, well, like we said, we don't have a ton of time before we get to all your burning questions, so I'm just going to ask some brief questions of the cast and crew here. First, I want to open it up to everyone on the panel. The Expanse is still flying. The fans are still here. We're going into season. How is everyone feeling? Anyway.
Fab, Carl, is the answer to that.
Amazing.
Fucking fabulous. How are you guys feeling?
Most importantly, yeah, it's incredible that the show's back, and it feels like it's bigger and more expansive. Sorry, expansive than ever in scope and scale. I couldn't help it. Stop blowing me! Yeah, tough crowd. But let's start with you, Noreen. I've interviewed you like 5 times now, and you're notoriously vague with me. But what's something that will really wow fans this season? I mean, if that first episode wasn't enough, which was very wow-ish, last season for me is when the Belter Kid was turned into pasta sauce. What can we expect in this season?
Please, come on.
Non-spoilery.
Like that.
Give me something.
Well, I would say you're going to see a different side of Miller and perhaps a different shape of Miller.
Yeah, that unfortunately didn't win the Oscar that year. Shape of Miller. Trying to get other good stuff.
Just watch the show, man.
I think the first episode was more than enough to get everyone's juices going. No?
Speaking of how everyone is working together on the show in the new season, Dom, Cass, Wes, and Steven, you're a tight crew on and off screen, which
That's right.
fans know and love. And for season 4, you kind of have to branch out and rely on a whole nother planet and a much more wide cast. How do you strike the balance when your characters are so close and so tight-knit and you have to kind of put yourselves out there?
We just ignore everybody else in the cast. And we actually live together in Toronto in a little apartment.
Yeah, we all share a bed.
We share a bed.
Brilliant.
Steven steals the covers.
I mean,
And
yeah.
Cass snores.
I do snore.
He has terrible morning breath as well.
Who's Big Spoon?
Who are?
Noreen's basement.
So, Kara, you had some breakout performances last season, and I think you quickly become a fan favorite badass. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're killing it. I've seen the gifs to prove it. There's a lot of gifs on the internet. What can we expect from your character this season?
Oh, well, now we can talk about it because you guys have seen that. I've got that cool little med tech on my back, so I don't have to wear the robot legs, which is, you know, a lot lighter for me.
Yeah, probably easier to move around and act.
It's a little, yeah, exactly. So we've got that going on. Of course, I mean, the ring gates opening up and what that means for the Belters is a huge part of what we explore this season. Because it means something different to everyone. I think that scene between Drummer and Naomi, that's like, Uncle how they're, you know, it's like they have different points of view and a different way of sort of approaching how the nature of the universe has changed. And I think that's going to be so cool to see how that unfolds.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. Shore, we learned at the last Comic-Con San Diego that Amazon, I think we saw this, Amazon is giving you maybe a bit more leeway in your colorful language. I want to take a little left turn here and ask you a question that James Lipton asks all of his guests at the end of Inside the Actor Studio. Shore, what is your favorite curse word?
Motherfucker.
There was something on that. There was some kind of spice on that one.
That's invigorating.
Wow. Yeah, no, I don't have any follow-up questions. I just want to. Vern, you are no stranger to great science fiction. I especially love you in this. What about being a part of the Expanse, and this season of the Expanse in particular, really excites you as an actor coming into this?
Well, it was a bloody nightmare, I've got to say. Can we have a little round of applause for this amazing cast? It was a huge, huge pleasure to join them for this adventure, and yeah, lots of exciting things happen. That's all I can say.
Is it just me, or did he look like Cerberus, the Hound of Hell, coming out of that fire?
Amazing.
Unbelievable. What a great shot.
Yeah, a lot of your characters have that same gait, I've noticed.
The asshole gate.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Was I not?
What are you going to do? You've got to work with what God gives you, right?
And you're working it, Vernon.
Thank you.
Working it.
Yeah, so like I said, I don't want to deprive any of you all of your burning questions. So if you have stuff for the cast, before we get to it, if there's anything else anyone wants to say, we can open it up to the fans right away.
Questions.
All right, so there should be microphones around, or someone to give you microphones, right? So if you raise your hand, someone will come to you with a microphone, and please make sure your question is a question and not just a statement. For example, you could ask, why does everyone have a beard in space now? Well, you know, it's hard to trim in space and microgravity because all the hairs might get into sensitive equipment, so if you don't have the right vacuum equipment, you don't want to shave in space, and that's why they all have beards in space. That could be an example. That could be an example of a question.
I don't have a beard in space.
I mean, you did cut all your hair.
No, none of you are allowed to comment on it. It's my choice, it's happened, you have to accept it. The mohawk is gone!
Oh, I think we love it. So let's go to our first question over here. Hello.
Hello, I have a question. I saw the first episode of the new season you guys put up in Comic-Con, and I was wondering, how's it like to be in outer space?
What's it like? Let me redirect slightly, which is, I guess, how is it to act like you're in space? Because it can't be an easy thing. Not many people do it, and there are a lot of little tips and tricks I know you all have to make space feel spacey.
We're hoping to shoot on location next year.
Hey, do you know a guy who has like a rocket?
Yeah, possibly. Well, there's a lot of floaty arms, for sure.
I'm sorry, I've just seen the proto-molecule.
Yeah, try and be discreet with a glowing suit.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's
floaty and stuff.
lots of floating. We're always very cognizant of.
Stephen crosses his arms a lot so he doesn't have to do zero-G acting.
That's exactly right. No floating arms.
Which we all want to get him in a headlock for because he always picks the position first and then I'm like, shit, I can't have that one now. Okay, hands in pockets. So, yeah.
We do blow a lot of takes because to keep in mind that we are in weightlessness and you do a scene and you're thinking, damn, I'm good in this scene, and you put down your whatever you're drinking, you put it down, and you're like, God damn it, we're in zero-G, you can't put the cup down.
That's it.
It's gonna float in the air, so.
Yeah, it's the little things like that, it's the details that I think really make the show and the performances special. Thank you so much for your question.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. Let's turn over here and hello, what is your name? What's your question?
Hello, my name is Karen. Oh yeah, Taki, thank you so much for having me. My question is, what did you all, as showrunner, as cast and crew, find most ubiquitous, or rather mendacious, or polyglottal, or rather the word I'm looking for is challenging and also rewarding in the move to filming in locations, not just on studio sets? And also, are we going to see a little bit of the Baltimore plot line, I'm hoping, with Amos's backstory, and maybe Amos is back? Thank you very much.
We are on Amazon now. And you get to see a lot more Amos this season than we have.
That's how we like it.
Yeah, so to the first part of that question that had a lot of
Challenging.
big words in it. How's it?
It was cold.
Very cool.
Yeah, so where were you for that, when you were landing on that scene?
We were shooting in a quarry about an hour and a half outside of Toronto, so it is just this
Guys, it was
incredible.
so cold.
It was freezing cold. It was desolate, but what you're seeing there when they're landing, the drone photography, that is what it looks like. It looks like an.
Yeah, you didn't have to do much post work to make it look really alien.
Other than the proto-molecule ruins, yes, those are not.
Yeah.
A funny story, you know, you were talking about Vernon's look when he's walking through. So his first day of shooting, he had the red eye from London. He got there, they drive him straight in the middle while it's still dark up this quarry. He has his pants open, obviously. He has all this wet blood. And he's all beat up, and he's walking. The sun's coming up. It is freezing, and he's walking through this thing. And I'm a morning person, you know. I'm like, hey, Vern, it's so good. And he slowly turns around, like, what did I just sign up for? It's freezing. I don't have any clothes on, and this guy wants to be my friend.
I'm the only Canadian on this cast, and so you might notice I was wearing. Oh, no, that's true. That's true. No, Kara, we're the only Canadians on this cast. And you notice I got to wear my toque in the opening shot there because I knew it was coming.
That means hat.
And they cursed me, and they're like, you damn you.
When I got that script for episode 1 and Drummer was very against the idea of going down to the planet, I was like, yes! Fuck yes, I'm in my spaceship.
Just the fact that you can say that is pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm in my spaceship, I'm good.
Cheers.
Fantastic. Next question over here, please.
So don't know the rest of you, huge fan. I'm going to be watching Bird. Love you, Torchwood. Is there going to be more? And can we expect you back as Owen?
Never say never. I mean, I don't know, thank you, yes. But back to the Expanse.
There might be more of what. There might be more, but also he's going to be on this show.
I can't wait to hear more of it.
Thanks.
This is the first episode I got to watch, and I'm really excited to be a fan now.
Thank you. You redeemed yourself there. Well done.
Welcome to the family.
You definitely redeemed yourself.
Yeah, there's something about this show where it doesn't take much to really hook you into the world. I think the world building of it is really, really great. I always mention the first moment where I knew like the show had me was when Shed lost his head and the pool of blood was spherical because it was in microgravity. I was like, yes, I understand why that makes sense. That was fun. Over here, next question.
Hi, do you guys ever stop and think about the legacy that the show is going to have? I know there's a lot of scientists, physicists that love the show now. Do you ever imagine in 20 years that people are going to come up to you and be like, I became an astronaut or a scientist because of this show?
I hope so.
Oh, me too.
That's the dream.
I was inspired when I was a kid by Star Trek, and part of what we do. If this show has that kind of effect on people, I mean, in any field, politics, whatever they want to go into, it's like this is, you know, that's why you make something, and if it's around and people are talking about it in 20 years, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for anyone, but as a science educator myself, I can answer this for them, where I know this show is having an effect on young people and young scientists, young engineers. I think I'm here because I see this effect that the show is having. I think it's incredible, and I'm a huge fan. That's why I'm here. So yes, I think that's happening. I think that's happening.
You are awesome.
So thank you so much for your question. Next question over here.
Hi everyone, awesome show. My question is, where did the Belter language come from, and how do the actors who play Belters all learn this same fake accent?
So wait, you see what just happened there? So he asked a question, and then the person behind him collapsed because you asked his question. And now what is he gonna say?
You can say it too if you want.
Yeah, you can ask it too.
We're gonna go over there first. So you have a minute or two. But where did Belta Patois come from?
Well, we work with a dialect coach, so that's a huge part of it. I meet with our dialect coach before every single episode. So, because unlike when you're doing other dialects where you could watch a film, you know, or another, like a news station, if you're doing like a British accent, you could watch some British film. You can't do that with this accent. So we have to like really work diligently to keep it consistent, especially when we go, you know, a year between shooting something. So to come back to that, we have that as a resource. I mean,
Ty and Daniel,
yeah.
Ty Frank and Daniel Abraham, who are collectively James S.A. Corey, who wrote the books, they modeled the Belter language on the Greek fishermen's languages in the Mediterranean, where people would sign to each other in sort of a polyglot kind of a fashion, and it's a constructed thing. It was Nick Farmer helped us with it. He's a linguist and designed it and built pieces of. It's got a lot of different elements in it from all sorts of different languages, and everybody comes at it with a different accent, and everybody makes their dialect kind of their own. But that's how it came.
Because the belt's huge, isn't it? So there's all different versions of it, which is why you hear everyone doing different ones in the show.
Yeah, and nothing really on TV sounds quite like it. I think it's really distinct and cool. You didn't have anything. Next question.
Hi, my name is Dakota, and I just want to ask, what about space or sci-fi kind of appeals to you guys, if it does at all? I don't know if that question makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
It does not appeal to me in any way.
Just a paycheck. Look, I'm here.
I think if we're talking about the genre specifically, it's always been something that's pushed boundaries, especially in representation. And I think our show is part of being at the forefront of it, and it just allows us to approach humanity in a different way because it's set in the future. So I think it's one of the best genres out there in terms of having a cast that looks like this.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that I've always really loved about sci-fi is that you can use it allegorically in a very poignant way. And you can talk about very prescient things that could be very divisive in a way that's digestible for a larger audience. And I think, especially today, that's a very important thing to be able to do, to start those conversations.
All right. I hope it's a good one, man.
As far as the politics goes, where do y'all get the insight and the, I guess, reference and how to bring in the politics in the show?
Yeah, I mean, that is something that you have to be pretty careful about. Like, where are you pulling from? Where do you feel the line is, and how do you show it?
We tend to pull a lot from the sad and bloody history of humanity. There's a lot of historical reference points in the show, whether it's military or economic or expansionist or colonization. It's all over the place. I mean, we talked about World War I was a good reference point for the first season. Now we're talking about the European invasion of North America. There are elements of that now that we're talking about. There are more to come. So we kind of pull from everywhere.
And I think that that's why having such a diverse cast is such a huge asset to the story, because we all bring our various perspectives and our unique points of view to this story politically. You know, I'm an Indigenous woman, and so for me, of course, I'm going to look at the Belter issues sort of from that perspective. And I think that that's part of what makes this story so special.
Yeah. All right. I think we have time for maybe 2 more. Sorry, everyone. You got to see a full episode. So. Next question.
Hi, everyone. Absolutely huge fan of the show. Love the attention to detail every episode has, especially the throwback to the Tachi gear, as well as holding zine for the cancer drug. So I was just wondering, like, does it ever get confusing to keep track of all the details that are necessary for each character going through all the seasons?
Oh yeah.
Well, Noreen, you come from, you know, the next generation, so you must have some kind of mind for this, right?
I think this is substantially more detailed than that.
Really?
I think so. I mean, in terms of the minutiae of it, and we did a lot on Next Generation, but there are tons of little elements that get tracked, and we police ourselves on them too. I mean,
and you know, it's just, you know, as a fan of the writing, you know, there's nothing superfluous within the writing, and you know, the books are so meticulously plotted out. There's nothing that isn't important in this, no matter how small the details. So we're always very cognizant of making sure that those things stay true.
Holden's anti-cancer drugs in the beginning, that's important. I mean, that's why it's in there. But yeah, the little details are.
And you know, Narain is uniquely qualified to be the showrunner of this show because of his educational background, and he constantly gets emails by me, and it's like, well, so wait a minute, so was I the, and he has to keep track of all of our small details of everything that's going on, also the science of the show. And I mean, we're very lucky to have somebody like him to watch over this.
Very lucky.
These are going to be our last questions.
That works for me, thank you.
Hey!
Hey everyone, thank you. I worked really hard on it.
It's great.
So my question is, if you had a legitimately salvaged MCRN Corvette, what would you name it?
Is this a trick question?
It's not a trick question. You can answer whatever you want.
Screaming Firehawk.
The tipper truck. That tickle you.
That one got me, yeah. I'm gonna go with that one. That was really
Yeah, that tippity top, you know, something like that. Yeah. So, and again, I'm sorry we can't get to everyone's questions, but as a consolation prize, even though we just showed you the first episode for the first time from season 4 before anyone else on Earth got to see it, this wouldn't really be a Comic-Con truly if we didn't have something even more to show you. So, do you want to see some more? Crystal Palace booth, CP 101. You can go get a photo moment inside a recreation of the Rossi. You can go to Amazon.com/The Expanse to get some brand new merch. You can follow Expanse on at Expanse on Prime for all the updates for everything. The new season drops on December 13th, and you can now watch all of the seasons streaming on Amazon. Please give a huge round of applause for the cast and crew. We're going to have to clear the room in about 10 minutes. The Jack Ryan panel will start. Thank you so much.